In this video, we are going to be simplifying ratios of basically monomials with more than one variable. So these are the basic problems, these first ones that we're going to go through here. On this first one, we got to take it apart and look at it piece by piece. The first thing that I always say to start with is the numbers. Starting with the numbers, what I see is a 9 and a 54. And I like to draw out my division sign first, because these are basically just division problems. Can I do 9 divided by 54? Or what would that be? A lot of people like to put this final answer as 6, and they put a 6 on the top. That would be incorrect. Since it's 9 over 54, if you were to type this in on a calculator, the answer would actually be 1/6. The 54 is the bigger number. That's where the 6 has got to go. There's technically a 1 on top as well, but you'll find out here. I'll keep it there. You'll find out, though, that that's not really needed on the top. So the 1/6 will go there. 9 over 54. I just took the 9 and the 54 and did those first. Do the numbers first, then we'll go on to the variables next. The next thing that I see is an A on the top. That A is going to stay on the top because there's nothing on the bottom. There's no A's on the bottom to cancel it out. The B is also going to stay on the top because there's no B's on the bottom to cancel it out. And then lastly, we have a C on the top, but hold up, I see a C on the bottom as well. Whenever you have the same thing on the top and the bottom, for example, if you have 4 over 4, those 4's cancel out. So the C's are going to be basically gone. Now I'm going to do my best to make this look a little bit better. My final answer, I don't really want to leave it like that. Like I said, the 1 isn't really necessary on the top, so we can pretty much get rid of that. Our final answer is A, oops, I actually accidentally erased, A times B over 6. Moving on to the next one. Again, where do we have to start? I like to start with the numbers. They're right out front for us to work with. So 9 divided by 81, well, it's actually 1/9. It's not 9, so don't put a 9 on the top. 81's a bigger number on the bottom, so we are going to have a number there on the bottom. We'll have a 9 on the bottom. The x is going to have to stay on top by itself. We don't have any x's on the bottom, so x will stay up there. Y is also going to have to stay up there. And the z's are going to end up canceling out. So our final answer, I guess we won't have to change too much here. It's going to be x times y over 9. That's our final answer. Now we're going to talk about the quotient rule, because all of the problems that we've had up here have been the same exponent. When we have just c over c, it's like c to the first over c to the first. Those are the same exponents. They canceled out. Down here, though, we have different exponents. Now we have y to the 6th over y to the 3rd. I will write this one out really quickly. If I had y to the 6th on top, it would be y times y times y times y times y times y. I think that's 6 of them. 6 y's on top. On the bottom, we'll have y times y times y. 3 y's on bottom. So we have 6 on top, 3 on bottom, just like it says in the problem. 6 on top, 3 on bottom. Well, like we did before, we can cancel some of these out. So if I cancel out 1 on top, I got to cancel out 1 on bottom. I'll cancel out another 1 on top and another 1 on bottom, and another 1 on top and another 1 on bottom. What are we left with then? I'm going to put an equal sign going this way because I ran out of room. No, I got room. What do we have left on top? Well, we have y's. How many of them do we have? We have 3. What do we have on bottom? Nothing. That doesn't mean I'm going to put a 0 there. That means I'd put a 1 there. But the 1's not really necessary, and neither is that division sign. Our final answer, oops, I didn't mean to erase it, is y to the 3rd. Just like that. Again, the question I'm going to ask here is, how can I do this without writing it out every single time? Because I don't want to do that. It's very simple. When you are dividing, and you have common bases, that's the big thing we have to remember here. We have to have common bases, so we have to have a y and a y. When we have common bases, we can just subtract our exponents. So 6 minus 3 is 3, and that's where that 3 is coming from. 6 minus 3 is 3. Oops. Y to the third power is my final answer for that one. Let's go to the next one, because this next one's a little bit more tricky. Now we have b over b to the fourth. Question that I've asked already is, in some of these videos, is if we don't have an exponent for b, if we don't see one, what is it? It's a 1. So if I am going to be subtracting my exponents, what I'll really be taking here is b, and then my exponent is going to be 1 minus 4. I'm taking the 1, subtracting the 4. You have to do the top one minus the bottom one. You cannot choose to do the bottom one divided by the top one. It's always the top minus the bottom. So 1 minus 4, well, that is negative 3, right? We cannot leave a negative exponent in our answer. So to fix that, we're going to have to go into our negative exponents rules and say, okay, well, we're going to have to move that to the bottom. So I'm going to draw my fraction line. That b goes to the bottom. That 3 becomes positive. And since we don't have anything left on top, we'll just write a 1 there. That's it. That's our answer for that one. Let's go to the next one. Simplifying a ratio of univariate monomials. Basically what that's saying is now we still have one variable, and we're just simplifying our ratios again. But this time, now we have numbers involved. And that's not something we can't handle. Basically, the question is this: what is 45 divided by 20? It's going to be another fraction. You can type it into your calculator. But I believe it's 9 over 4. I'm going to make my fraction line big enough here. And then the second question is, we're going to have to do v to the second power divided by v to the third power. Just like what we did up here. That's literally a question like we could have had up here. If we just do these separate, do the numbers first and then do the variables second, I'm really asking you here, what is 2 minus 3? Whenever you do a subtraction problem like this, your answer is always going to go on top, no matter if it's negative or positive. Always put it at the top first. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So v to the negative 1 will go on top just like that. Then afterwards, after you've realized, well, it's a negative, then you can change it to the bottom. So the 9 over 4 is going to stay. And that v to the negative first power is going to have to actually move to the bottom and become v to the first power. But I don't really need to write v to the first power like this, because we know that it's just v to the first power if there's not a variable shown. So, oops, that's the answer for that one. Let's try that again. Now we have 4 over 32 for our numbers. So 4 divided by 32 is 8 and 1. If we simplify those, or 1/8. And now we can work on our variables. We have x to the fourth and x to the third. If we subtract 4 minus 3, because we're dividing with common bases, 4 minus 3 is 1. We'll have x to the first on top. I'm going to make this look better. We don't need this 1. We don't need this 1.